So, it all started on a regular Tuesday, you know? I was just sitting at my desk, scrolling through my phone, like I usually do. I mean, who doesn't? The world is at our fingertips, right? But I felt this weird heaviness in my chest, and before I knew it, everything went black. I fainted. When I came to, I was in this bright, warm place. It felt peaceful, like a gentle breeze on a summer day. And then there he was, Jesus. I mean, I always imagined him to be, kind of glowing or something, but he just looked like a regular guy with this warm smile that made you feel safe. Andrew, he said, and his voice was like music, calming and powerful at the same time. I blinked, trying to process what was happening. Lost? I mean, I'm just living my life, you know? I have a job, a family, and social media. Isn't that how everyone connects these days? He nodded, and I could see a hint of sadness in his eyes. Yes, but you're missing the point. Technology, social media, they can be tools for good, but they can also lead you away from what truly matters. I felt a lump in my throat. But Jesus, everyone's doing it. It's how we communicate, how we share our lives. I mean, I can't just stop, right? He smiled gently. It's not about stopping, Andrew. It's about using it wisely. You see, God gave you these tools to glorify Him and to help others. But instead, many are using them to tear each other down, to compare lives, to spread negativity. I thought about my own feed, filled with perfect pictures and happy moments. Yeah, I guess I do see a lot of that. It's like everyone's trying to show off their best selves, and it makes me feel inadequate sometimes. Exactly, he said, leaning in a bit. Technology can be a temptation. It can distract you from your purpose. It can make you forget to look around and appreciate the beauty of the world I created. You're so focused on the screen that you miss the people right in front of you. I felt a wave of guilt wash over me. I don't want to be that person. Start by using technology to build others up, he suggested. Share kindness, encouragement, and love. Use your platform to spread hope, not despair. Remember, it's a tool, and how you use it matters. I nodded slowly, trying to absorb everything he was saying. But, what about the things Christians are doing wrong? I mean, I see so much division, so much arguing online. It's like we've forgotten what it means to love one another. Jesus sighed, and I could feel the weight of his heart. Yes, my child. Many have lost sight of the core message. They focus on their differences instead of their shared faith. They forget that love is the greatest commandment. It's not about winning arguments. It's about showing compassion. I felt a tear slip down my cheek. I want to be part of the solution, not the problem. But it's hard, you know? The world is so loud, and it pulls me in. He reached out, placing his hand on my shoulder. You have the power to change that, Andrew. Start small. Be the light in your community. Show love to your neighbors, your family, and even those online. Remember the stories from the Bible, like how Cain built a city, or how Noah built the ark. They used their skills for a purpose. Yeah, I remember those stories, I said, feeling a spark of inspiration. But, how do I know I'm doing it right? Look at your intentions, he replied. Are you seeking to glorify God? Are you lifting others up? If the answer is yes, then you're on the right path. Technology can influence people, but it's your heart that will guide you. I took a deep breath, feeling a sense of clarity. So, it's about balance, right? Using technology but not letting it control me? Exactly, he said, smiling again. And remember, it's okay to unplug sometimes. Go outside, enjoy nature, spend time with your loved ones. Those moments are precious. I felt a warmth in my chest, like a light was igniting. I can do that. I can make a change. But, what about the future? What do you see for us? He looked thoughtful for a moment, his gaze distant, as if peering into the very fabric of time. The future, Andrew, is shaped by the choices you make today. If people continue to use technology for division and negativity, the world will grow darker. But if you choose to spread love, kindness, and understanding, you can create a ripple effect that reaches far beyond your immediate circle. I felt a surge of hope. So, it's like planting seeds, right? If I plant seeds of positivity, they can grow into something beautiful? Exactly, he affirmed, his eyes sparkling with encouragement. Every act of kindness, every moment of understanding is a seed. Nurture them, and they will flourish. But remember, it takes time. Just as a tree doesn't grow overnight, neither does change. I nodded, feeling the weight of his words settle in my heart. I want to be patient and persistent. I want to be a part of this change. But, what if I slip up? What if I fall back into old habits? Grace, Andrew, he said softly. It's all about grace. You will stumble, and that's okay. What matters is that you get back up and keep moving forward. Don't be too hard on yourself. Learn from your mistakes and strive to do better. I took a moment to reflect on that. It's comforting to know that I don't have to be perfect. I just have to try. Exactly, he replied, his smile warm and reassuring. And remember, you're not alone in this journey. Surround yourself with people who uplift you, who share your values. Together, you can encourage one another and hold each other accountable. I felt a sense of camaraderie wash over me. I can reach out to my friends and family, share what I've learned. We can support each other in using technology for good. Yes, he said, nodding. And don't underestimate the power of prayer. Seek guidance from God in your decisions and ask for strength to resist the temptations that come with technology. I closed my eyes for a moment, envisioning the changes I wanted to make. I want to create a space where people feel safe and loved, both online and offline. A place where we can share our struggles and victories without judgment. That's a beautiful vision, Andrew, he said, his voice filled with warmth. And it starts with you. Be the example. Show others what it means to live with purpose and love. I felt a rush of determination. I'll start today. I'll be more mindful of my online presence and how I interact with others. I want to reflect the love you've shown me. Good, he said, his expression proud. And remember, it's not just about what you post or share. It's about how you treat those around you, both in person and online. Your actions speak louder than words. I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of responsibility, but also the lightness of hope. I can do this. I can be a light in the darkness. Yes, you can, he affirmed. And as you walk this path, you'll find that the more you give, the more you receive. I smiled, feeling a warmth spread through me. Thank you, Jesus. I feel like I've been given a second chance, a new perspective. He nodded, his eyes filled with compassion. Every day is a new opportunity, Andrew. Embrace it. And remember, I am always with you, guiding you, cheering you on. As I stood there, enveloped in his presence, I felt a sense of peace wash over me. I knew that the journey ahead wouldn't be easy, but I was ready to take the first step. I wanted to honor God with my life, to use the tools I had been given to uplift others and spread love. Before I go back, I said, feeling a sense of urgency, is there anything else you want me to remember? He looked at me intently, his gaze piercing through to my very soul. Always seek the truth, Andrew. In a world filled with noise and distractions, hold on to what is real and good. Let your heart be your compass, and let love guide your actions." I nodded, feeling the weight of his words settle deep within me. "I will, I promise." And just like that, the bright, warm place began to fade, and I felt myself being pulled back into the darkness. But this time, it was different. I felt a sense of purpose, a mission to carry out. I opened my eyes, back at my desk, the glow of my phone illuminating the room. I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment settle in. The world around me felt the same, yet I was different. I had a renewed sense of clarity, a mission to embrace. I looked at my phone, the screen filled with notifications and messages, and I realized that I had a choice. I could either get lost in the endless scroll or use this tool to connect meaningfully with others. I opened my social media app, and instead of mindlessly scrolling, I began to think about what I could share. I wanted to post something uplifting, something that would encourage others. I typed out a message about kindness, about the importance of lifting each other up rather than tearing each other down. I hit send, feeling a sense of satisfaction wash over me. As the likes and comments began to trickle in, I felt a warmth in my heart. People were responding positively, sharing their own stories of kindness and support. It was a small ripple, but it felt significant. I realized that this was just the beginning. I could create a community of. Over the next few days, I made a conscious effort to engage with my friends and family in a more meaningful way. I reached out to those I hadn't spoken to in a while, checking in on them, asking how they were doing. I shared articles and posts that inspired me, things that aligned with the values I wanted to promote. I even started a small group chat with a few friends, where we could share our goals and support each other in our journeys. It wasn't always easy. There were moments when I felt the pull of negativity, the temptation to engage in arguments or to compare myself to others. But each time I felt that way, I remembered the conversation I had with Jesus. I reminded myself that I had the power to choose how I responded, to focus on love and understanding rather than division. One evening, as I sat on my porch, I reflected on how far I had come in such a short time. I felt a sense of gratitude for the experience I had, for the clarity it brought me. I looked up at the stars, feeling a connection to something greater than myself. I whispered a prayer of thanks, asking for continued guidance and strength. As the weeks turned into months, I noticed a shift not only in myself, but in those around me. My friends began to share more positive content, and our conversations became deeper and more meaningful. We talked about our struggles, our hopes, and how we could support each other in using technology for good. I also started volunteering at a local community center, where I could connect with people face to face. I wanted to be a part of something bigger, to help those in need, and to spread love in tangible ways. It was fulfilling, and I found that the more I gave, the more I received in return. The smiles, the gratitude, the connections I made filled my heart with joy. One day, while volunteering, I met a young man named David. He was struggling with feelings of isolation and negativity, heavily influenced by the toxic environment of social media. I shared my story with him, about my experience and the lessons I had learned. He listened intently, and I could see a flicker of hope in his eyes. "Do you really think it's possible to change?" he asked, his voice filled with uncertainty. I smiled, remembering the words of Jesus. "Absolutely. It starts with you. You have the power to choose how you engage with the world. You can be a light in the darkness, just like I'm trying to be." David nodded, and I could see the wheels turning in his mind. We talked for hours, sharing our thoughts and dreams. I encouraged him to take small steps, to focus on building others up rather than getting caught in the negativity that surrounded him. By the end of our conversation, he seemed lighter, more hopeful. As I continued on this journey, I realized that it wasn't just about me anymore. It was about creating a ripple effect, inspiring others to join in and make a difference. I started organizing community events where people could come together to share their stories, their struggles, and their victories. We created a space where love and support flourished, where technology was used as a tool for connection rather than division. Looking back, I could see how far I had come since that fateful day when I fainted and met Jesus. I had transformed my relationship with technology, using it to uplift rather than tear down. I had learned to appreciate the beauty of the world around me, to engage with the people in my life more deeply. I had found purpose in my actions, and I was determined to continue on this path. One evening, as I sat with my family, sharing a meal and laughter, I felt a profound sense of gratitude. I looked around the table at the faces of my loved ones, and I realized how important these moments were. They were the essence of life, the connections that mattered most. I thought about how easy it could have been to miss this, to be lost in the distractions of technology and social media. "Hey, can I share something with you all?" I said, breaking the comfortable silence. They looked at me with curiosity, and I felt a rush of excitement. "I've been thinking a lot about how we use technology and social media. I want us to be more intentional about it, to use it to connect and uplift each other." My family nodded, and I could see they were engaged. I've learned that it's not just about sharing the highlights of our lives, but also about being real with each other. We should celebrate our victories, but we should also share our struggles. It's okay to be vulnerable. My daughter, who was scrolling through her phone, looked up. "You mean like when I post about my bad days too?" "Exactly," I said, feeling a surge of pride. When you share your struggles, it helps others feel less alone. It shows that we're all human, and we all go through tough times. It's important to create a space where we can support each other. My wife chimed in. "I love that idea. We could even start a family group chat where we share our highs and lows each week. It could be a way to check in on each other." "That's a great idea," I exclaimed. "And we can encourage each other to share positive things too, like what we're grateful for or something nice we did for someone else." As we discussed this, I felt a sense of hope. It was a small step, but it was meaningful. We were taking the lessons I had learned and applying them to our family dynamic. I could see the excitement in their eyes, and it made me realize that change starts at home. Over the next few weeks, we implemented our family chat. It became a space filled with love, encouragement, and support. We shared our daily experiences, celebrated each other's achievements, and offered comfort during tough times. It was beautiful to see how our connections deepened, and I felt a sense of fulfillment knowing that we were creating a positive environment together. As I continued to engage with my community, I noticed that the ripple effect was growing. More people were joining our events, sharing their stories, and supporting one another. It was heartwarming to witness the transformation happening around me. I felt like I was part of something bigger, a movement towards kindness and understanding. One day, while at the community center, I met a woman named Sarah. She was struggling with anxiety and felt overwhelmed by the negativity she encountered online. I shared my journey with her, and she listened intently, her eyes filled with hope. "I want to change, but I don't know where to start," she admitted, her voice trembling. I smiled gently. "Start small. Focus on what you can control. Limit your time on social media, and when you do engage, seek out positive content. Surround yourself with people who uplift you. And remember, it's okay to take breaks. Your mental health is important." She nodded, and I could see the determination in her eyes. "I'll try. I want to be part of the change too." As we talked, I felt a sense of purpose wash over me. I realized that this was what it was all about, helping others find their way, sharing the love and support that I had received. It was a beautiful cycle of giving and receiving, and I was grateful to be a part of it. As the months passed, I continued to reflect on my journey. I often thought back to that day when I fainted and met Jesus. I felt a deep sense of gratitude for the lessons I had learned and the changes I had made. I was no longer lost in the noise of the world. I had found my voice and my purpose. One evening, as I sat on my porch watching the sunset, I felt a wave of peace wash over me. I closed my eyes and whispered a prayer of thanks. I was grateful for the connections I had made, the lives I had touched, and the love that surrounded me. I knew that the journey was ongoing, but I felt equipped to face whatever challenges lay ahead. In that moment, I realized that life was about more than just technology or social media. It was about the relationships we built, the love we shared, and the impact we had on one another. I felt a renewed sense of commitment to continue using the tools I had been given to spread positivity and kindness. As the stars began to twinkle in the night sky, I made a promise to myself to keep striving for a life filled with purpose and love. I would continue to be a light in the darkness, to uplift those around me, and to use technology as a means of connection rather than division. I would remember the lessons I had learned from Jesus and carry them with me in every interaction, both online and offline. The journey ahead would not always be easy, but I felt ready to embrace it. I would face the challenges with grace, knowing that I had the power to choose how I responded to the world. I would seek out opportunities to encourage others, to share my story, and to create spaces where love and understanding could flourish. As I sat there, I felt a sense of hope for the future. I envisioned a world where kindness reigned, where people supported one another, and where technology was used to build bridges rather than walls. I knew that it started with me, with the choices I made each day, and I was determined to make a difference. With that thought in mind, I took a deep breath, feeling the cool evening air fill my lungs. I opened my eyes and looked up at the stars, feeling a connection to something greater than myself. I whispered a prayer, asking for guidance and strength as I continued on this journey. And as I sat there, surrounded by the beauty of the night, I felt a sense of peace wash over me. I knew that I was not alone. I had a purpose, a mission to carry out, and I was ready to embrace it with open arms. The world was waiting, and I was excited to see what lay ahead.